Mitchell and I'm a clinical scientist in biochemistry at Kettering General Hospital. I feel very humbled to have had the opportunity to share with you my mental health journey today. Before I start, in case of any triggers, I will be mentioning suicide and sectioning as part of my story. I'll begin by sharing my mental health story with you, as I originally did back in February as part of the Time to Talk Day activities at Kettering General Hospital. I'll then talk about the positive response that I had from colleagues across the trust and to use this as a demonstration of the positive power of talking about mental health and being open about this area. So I want to share my mental health journey with you with the aim of reducing stigma and encouraging conversation. For me, it started nearly 3 years ago when I found myself in A&E having attempted to take my own life. I didn't even realise that I'd been changing or how unwell I'd become prior to this, and I'd be the first to admit now that I didn't really know anything about depression, only the stereotypes that I'd seen on TV. But the reality was very, very different. Depression is very cruel. It tells you you're not good enough, you don't deserve to be happy, and it drained my confidence and replaced it with self-doubt. It wasn't about sadness. I felt completely numb and helpless. I didn't feel anything. My attempt was labelled by healthcare professionals as a failed attempt, and this made me feel even worse. I was a failure. I couldn't even do that right. I was admitted to a day treatment unit and later sectioned under the Mental Health Act, again something that I knew nothing about previously. My freedom was taken away. It was an absolutely terrifying experience. I was surrounded by strangers and I didn't know if or when I'd be released. All the control was taken away from me. So to summarise my story, after multiple attempts and readmission to hospital, I received electroconvulsive therapy. Again, a treatment with a lot of stigma associated with it. Not many people understand how it works, and it's portrayed incorrectly and very dangerously in films. I also had and continue to have psychological talking therapy and have made lots of changes to my lifestyle as a result, including learning how to feel, how to understand and accept my emotions, how to have fun, and how to recognise that I was and still am my worst own enemy when it comes to how I judge myself compared to how others judge me. I attempted to return to my old job multiple times, but the difficulty was that the approach taken there was to keep my mental health a secret and not tell anyone why I'd been away. They thought that by doing this they were helping me, but unfortunately the side effect of this was that I felt guilty and ashamed and embarrassed of what I'd done and from suffering from depression, and it made it very difficult to ask for any help. I felt alone and like no one would understand. After being signed off on long-term sick leave and going on to resign from my job, I started my current role here at KGH about 1.5 years ago. This time things were very different. With the support of occupational health, my psychologist and my manager, I was much more open about my mental health from day one. My manager invited me to the department in advance so that I could meet my colleagues to take away some of that first day fear of starting a new job. I was able to have coffee with them and meet them first. I did a phased return to work for my first month at KGH and was offered a 4-day-a-week contract, which helped me to maintain both my work-life balance and to have my mental health treatment. I was encouraged to be open with my colleagues about my depression. I was really pleasantly surprised by their reaction. They didn't wrap me up in cotton wool. They treated me like I was normal. They didn't treat me like I was weird or different or anything odd about me because of my mental health condition. Being able to do this and be open has lifted a weight off of my shoulders. It's helped me to challenge the stigma and helped me to challenge feeling ashamed of my illness. And now I'm not ashamed and I don't have to keep it a secret anymore. They've accepted me as I am and that some days are more difficult than others. Certain dates, like the anniversaries of suicide attempts or music that was played over and over in the ward, can be a trigger for me. And they've given me the space to go for a walk around the pocket park or to talk or not talk as needed. This has helped me to accept that it's okay to ask for help and it's okay to let people in. I was surprised to actually learn how common it really is. You see statistics about depression and mental health, but it doesn't really mean anything until you talk to people. And how, as I've opened up with my own depression, others have opened up too. And so many people have been touched either themselves or by their family and friends with this condition. Outside of the hospital, walking around the pocket park with colleagues I've never met smiling at me and saying hi has been really helpful and can really brighten my day. And having mindfulness sessions, something that I've never had the opportunity to partake in at other trusts, has actually also been really helpful. We spend a really large amount of time with our work colleagues, and in my case, sometimes we don't even realise that there's something wrong until it's too late. We never really know how someone is feeling because a smile can be an armour to the outside world. If a colleague does open up to you, really listen. We're not looking for advice or have you tried this or that, but just for someone to listen to us without judgment. It can be really scary the first time you speak and open up, and these small conversations really can make a huge difference. So help me send out a message loud and clear that it is okay to live with mental illness and it is okay to work at KGH. We are valuable members of the team and it is okay to talk about mental health and support the good mental health and well-being of our colleagues and ourselves. So that was the story that I presented for Time to Talk Day, and it is my own personal mental health journey. On the day itself, when it was first broadcast, I was on holiday, so I wasn't around to see it. I told all my colleagues that it was going to be shown as part of the promotion for Time to Talk Day. I remember feeling a little nervous coming back to work that first day, wondering if anyone had watched the video and how it had been received. I was positively overwhelmed by the reaction from friends and colleagues within my department, but also from colleagues I work with across the trust that I meet in MDTs and colleagues that I've never met before. I came in to find a card on my desk from a colleague saying how incredibly brave of me to tell my story and how it must have been really hard to do. I had an email saying that my story was amazing and thank you for sharing. I had colleagues tell me how they would never have known from seeing me that I live with depression or that I've tried to kill myself multiple times. I had a colleague that managed staff with mental health problems talk about how the videos had helped their staff to be more open with them and had helped to create more open discussions in how they could support each other. Colleagues opened up to me about their own mental health stories and living with friends and family with mental health problems too. It was positively overwhelming and I was very humbled that I could share my story with them and they felt that they could share theirs with me too. I also found colleagues that started to talk about their feelings more. And they hadn't done that before, and through that we were able to support each other and understand each other better. A colleague also spoke to me that had sadly lost a family member to suicide. I was humbled that they'd shared their experience with me, and it reminded me of how lucky I am that I've survived and that I have no long-term physical health problems as a result of my own attempts. It also re-emphasised to me the key importance of having an environment where people can ask for help early on. It really can save lives. A key thing that surprised me was being called brave for sharing my story. I never really saw myself as brave. For me, sharing my story and talking about my mental health helped me to break free from its hold over me, making me previously feel embarrassed and ashamed of my mental health. I wouldn't feel embarrassed talking about my type 1 diabetes or my fibromyalgia, so why should I be embarrassed about saying that I live with depression? Why are they different? Why do people react differently when I say I've got a physiotherapy appointment to when I say I've got a psychology appointment? For me, that is why it's so important that we can have open conversations, both about mental health in general and about mental illness, as it breaks down that stigma and normalises the conversation, so that one day seeking help for mental health problems and maintaining our mental health will be seen and treated no differently, and as importantly as maintaining our physical health. So the key take-home message from my story today is to anyone else living with mental illness or struggling with their mental health, you are not alone. It is okay to ask for help, and it takes a lot of courage to do this, and it is not a weakness. We never know how anyone else is feeling from their outside appearance. Promoting a positive atmosphere to talk about mental health and mental illness is key in overcoming the stigma for the benefits of everyone's mental health, and we can all play a role in this, even with the smallest of actions. Asking how someone is, smiling and saying hello, and really listening if someone opens up to talk. I'm definitely not an expert, and I'm still on my own personal mental health journey. But being able to talk about it openly plays a key role in that journey and makes that journey easier. It would be amazing to me if just one person, after listening to my story today, feels less alone, maybe seeks help, or opens up about their mental health too. So thank you for listening.